Hello, everybody. Okay, so let's have a very simple example here to demonstrate how you could use view models, live data, and how things wire up together. All right. Okay, so we'll start by just with this example app. This app is a two-fragment application, and basically, what we would like to do is here it is. We would like to when you click increment, you increment a number, and go to the next screen. Takes us to another screen here when we want to decrement that number. All right. So let's see how are we going to do this. To start off, we need to create a view model. All right. So basically, let's create a view model that manages that number. So we create a Java class. I'll call it, for example, let's say counter view model. And basically, here it is. Okay. And in that counter view model, it will say extends Android view model. Okay. Now, in order to extend the Android view model, let's disable this thing a little bit here, disable completions. In order to do this, you need to implement, there's a method, okay, here's that, and it takes, I just created the constructor for that, okay. Now, that view model, if we go back to the application that we are looking at, okay, let's say that view model should host a number, an integer, all right, so we're going to host an integer. So basically, let's here we create a we'll use mutable data and of kind, let's say integer, and we call it, for example, counter live data. All right, so that's this, and then basically we initialize it here, counter live data equal new mutable data, and we initialize it when it's constructed, and then let's get a getter here for it, and here it is. Okay, good. So that's how we are going to manage this. Inside the view model also, we want to create a method, a public method, and we call it let's say void, and that void method we say increment counter. And basically what we're going to do is we are going to get the integer from the live data, which is the mutable data. So basically we have an integer or value. Let me say count equals count data live dot get value, right? And then we check to see if count is not equal to null, because you see it's an object here. Else, all right. So now if it's equal to null, then what we're going to do is we will initialize it to what we could do is we could initialize it here in the constructor. So count live data dot set value to 1, right? So basically when it initializes, it will initialize at 1, so we don't have to do that check here, right? So we get the value. And what we could do is that count live data dot set value to count live data count plus 1. All right, so that's how we can do this. When you ask me to increment, I'll just set the value to this, and we're good to go. Now notice something, that there is also count live data. There is also get. There is set, get, and post. Set will run on the same thread as it is being called, right? Post will send it to the main thread. All right, so basically there is a post, it will enable you to send it to the main thread. Okay, so that's the view model. Now if we go to the fragment, let's go to the increment fragment. Here it is, and we need to get an instance of the view model. Okay, so basically we'll have the counter view model, call it counter view model. Here is that. And we initialize it in the onCreate. So we need the onCreate method, the override methods, and I want the onCreate. All right, onCreate. Actually, I can do it like this, onCreate. Here it is. And then basically what we'll do is, this is very important. This is how we do this. It's boilerplate code that we need, and so on, right? So basically what we're going to do is We'll indicate that it's counter view model equals view model provider. All right. And then we pass it, we'll create a new. We need using the new view model provider, and then we need to pass it the scope. So basically you need to pass it the owner, right? Who is the store owner? Let's say this, okay? Dot get, and then basically here we tell it I want the view counter view model. Counter dot class. All right, here we are. Basically what we're doing is we're indicating that the owner of that view model instance is going to be this, which is the fragment, this fragment. Okay, and we'll get back to this in a little bit, but this is the owner, that's the scope. All right. Now on create view here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do the following. Counter view model dot get I'll bind. So basically what I'm trying to do here is observe, and basically we need the lifecycle owner and then comma some kind of an observer, right? So basically we'll do this. Lifecycle owner is we indicate that get view model, basically we get the view model get view model lifecycle owner comma new observer. And basically this is not the correct thing here. Basically we need to get view model lifecycle owner. View model, get view model lifecycle owner. All right, so that's something we need to do. Okay, so it's not this one, it's get view lifecycle owner. Get view here it is, lifecycle owner. All right, so here is that, and we create an observe. You notice that the observe is associated with the live data, right? And here is on change. Okay, so let's say we do a log d here, and I'm just going to print the integer that I'm receiving, and I'm going to do this as demo. Okay, good. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it up for you to see. Okay, now what I want to do is when the user clicks the button, binding dot button increment, the user presses button, set on click listener, new on click listener. I would like to use the view model dot increment counter. That's it. So basically I just wanted to increment the counter. When it increments the counter, it goes into the view model and it increments the counter. It notifies the live data that the data has changed to the current count plus 1. And we go up here. If you look here, we already registered an observer. That observer will receive that notification of the change of data, and we should be able to see the change. All right, so let's run this. Okay, here it is. And you can see, you will not be able to see anything in the layout because we didn't accommodate changing into the layout yet. Let's say we click on the button, increment, you see here, change to 2, change to 3. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, we already received change to 1. You know, even though if you run the app for the first time, see, we run the app. Okay, you see it already have changed 1. So basically what we could do is, what if we go here and we just say binding.text view count.set text to string.value of integer. So let's run this again. And here is the 1. You increment, you get the 2. Increment, get the 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go to second. And let's go back. It's still 6. You notice that when you go 6, it's going, it's coming back, and it's using the view. It's configuring all of this again, but the view model is already created, right? So the view model is associated with the view model provider, right? Okay. So now what if we go to second? All right, we're here, and go back, we see this. Now, let's say we go to second, and you see here the owner is the fragment, right? So let's go, before we go to second, let's just figure out what happened here. So when you click on the button, we increment the counter, okay? We increment the counter by going to the view model, and what we did is the live data, we got the current value, and then we incremented it by 1, okay? We set that, set value. When you set value, it triggers the on change. Makes sense? So it triggers the on change, and then the on change comes back, and it gets called. You get the value that is changed, the current value, and we set it to the text view. Okay, so we're good here. So what if we do the following? Let's go to the second step here, go the second phase, and do the decrement. So in the view model here, let's copy this here. All right, and we'll have decrement, and we do something like this, right? So basically that's the decrement value, and we want to go to the decrement fragment, okay, and we'll do the same thing. Go up here, same thing. We'll get the same view model, okay, counter view model, okay, and we need the onCreate method. And here it is, counter view model equals new view model provider. Okay, the scope is this, right? Dot get counter view model dot class. All right, so that's the view model here. The provider is this. Okay, good. We go here, counter view model dot get count live data dot observe. Get view lifecycle owner new, here it is, and we're getting the integer binding dot text view count dot set text string dot value of integer, right? And then when you click, we just call the function. So basically, again, when you click the button, binding dot button decrement dot set text new here. And what we're going to do is view model counter view model dot decrement. Okay, good. So now let's run it and see something here. Increment. Let's increment all the way to 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're 10 here. Let's go to second. Second is a 1, even though it's using the same view model. You see, we're still using the same view model, but the whole key is who owns it. Owns it, this means to refer to the fragment, right? Okay. So if you increment, let's decrement it. Okay, decrement. Let's go to minus, let's say 15. All right, we go back. It's still at 10. Go to second, 1. So basically, and on its destruction, on the destruction of the fragment, it went away. Right, that thing went away. Right, the view model that belongs. See here, the view model provider. The owner is this. So this means when you go back, that fragment is destroyed. The decrement one is destroyed, while the increment is popped out of the stack, and you still get the 10, right? Because it wasn't destroyed, right? But if you go to second, it starts at 1, and then you decrement. You go back, you click on go to second, it's still at 1. So now let me do a small change. Instead of the increment fragment and the decrement fragment, the owner being this, we do require activity. This means that the activity is the owner. So we do that here, and we do that require activity as the other one. So basically, the activity now is the owner of that instance of the view model. Now notice what happens. I increment, we went all the way up to 10. I go to the second one, and it shows 10. I decrement it, and now it's say 5, go back, it says minus 5. So basically you could see that because now that instance belongs to the activity, it is not tied up to the life cycle of the fragment itself, or its life is not tied up to the fragment itself, it's tied up to the activity. And all of them are hosted inside the activity. So basically that's a very simple example of how we use view models. You see, I never set up that text directly. I set it up by observing the value, the integer value, and when the integer value changes, I'm getting it in here inside that callback function, and inside the callback function, we're changing the string that is displayed to reflect the text that we received, the number that we received, or the count that we received. All right, so that's a quick overview of a simple example that uses view models and live data. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.